Just to share an introduction of our organization with you all, I'm sure you can see on your screen, I had shared it with you earlier. Now, BYLD is the largest group in South Asia region. I represent the organization, the larger organization called BYLD Group. Build your leadership differentiators is how we like to define ourselves. We are considered one of the largest groups in South Asia region, offering value-added services in HR, leadership development, business operations, manpower staffing, technology, executive coaching, and organizational development. The first company of BYD Group was Door Training and Consulting in India, was set up by Mr. Yogesh Sood in 98, along with Mr. Sandeep Budhiraja, who was the executive partner. The senior leadership team includes, besides these two, Mr. Nishit Sood, Mr. Anand Diwan, Mr. Amar Vijay Tandur, and Mr. Ronald Swans. Few more details about our credentials, which I think if I allow you 30 seconds, you can go through that and we'll move ahead. Great. The core leadership development solutions at Blanchard. This is a webinar being held by Blanchard Research and Training India. The core solutions you will find on the extreme left is building trust. Moving ahead is coaching essentials, the subject that we've taken today, and optimal motivation above that. Now, these three are the programs which are hierarchy neutral, and they are very basic, very easy to understand. Why we've kept it easy to understand is because we understand that the value that they deliver needs to be the language that this entire organization speaks or understands. So if you want your operation to your operations to run smooth, you want optimally motivated people, you would want this program to be delivered all across the organization, so we have kept it accordingly. When we come to building trust, below that is self-leadership, and under that is first-time managers. Diagonally opposite to that is SL2 experience, then team leadership, then leading people through change, and legendary services. Now, these are sequentially placed as defined in Ramcharan's leadership pipeline. He is one of the foremost authorities on leadership. He wrote a book which became the reference point of leadership pipeline and bench strength build up for a lot across the world. It's called Ramcharan's leadership pipeline. So we've mapped it to each bend in the pipeline. What it suggests is that at each bend or at each progressive level of leadership, the expectations, skills, and deliverables change. And how do we ensure that we are making ourselves capable of delivering that? So self-leadership is meant for individual contributors. First-time managers addresses the needs of the initiated into man management. SL2 experience is meant for tenured managers. Team leadership is asking or addressing the need of a leader at a leader of man managers level. Leading people through change helps you build the culture of change in your organization. How do you create an infrastructure that sustains change before you introduce that change? Next is legendary service. As the name suggests, it's very close to a customer service program. However, it digs deep into what are those core beliefs, where is all that challenge coming from, and how do we address that so that we provide appropriate customer service to our clients. These are our support programs, essentially half a day programs, barring a few like leadership point of view. Leadership point of view would be a keynote to be delivered with the help of some very credible senior leader, usually Yogesh or Sandeep, who would take your managers or who would take the CEO of your organization, coach them how to deliver their leadership and their aspect of leadership to your organization. Moving ahead, the subject that we're going to cover today is coaching essentials. Now, this is not an ICF certification program. In this program, we deliver enough about what are the bases or bare essentials of coaching so that an individual is capable of holding coaching conversations within the organization. So the session's overview would be: step one would be adopt the coaching mindset. Step two is learn the coaching process. Third is practice the coaching process and essential skills. And the fourth, but not the last, is apply coaching process and skills. So coaching is not something that comes naturally to us. We have been brought up or we have been conditioned to pass judgment. At every step we take some decision, and every step there are rebuttals, there are times that we get into arguments. So there is so much of practiced behavior that it's difficult for us to adopt a new style, and it is initially awkward. If I were to ask you all, if you were to write in chat, what was your initial experience of trying to learn any new skill? Was it not awkward for you just to begin with? Of course, eventually it would have become more comfortable to you, but was it not relatively awkward when the process began? Yeah. Yes, Adesh. Uncomfortable at the beginning. True. So this is precisely what you may experience when you're trying to learn the skills of coaching and you're trying to build your own capacity or capability to hold coaching conversations. Don't worry, that's just a clear indicator of growth. Yeah. What is coaching? If I were to ask all of you to answer to us in a poll that we will run, if you could click what your understanding of what coaching is. So, Shrishti, if we could run that poll, or Mahima, almost 60% of the people who are present in this session agree that enabling people to succeed is the correct answer, which is correct, which is right. So, what is coaching? It's a deliberate process using focused conversations to create an environment that results in accelerated performance and development. You may want to take another look at it. A deliberate process using focused conversations to create an environment that results in accelerated performance and development. Yeah. Now, what is essential for us to understand is that there are certain natural tendencies that we all have, and a lot of those natural tendencies may tilt towards telling rather than asking. Now, there could be two aspects to any conversation: either you're telling something or you're asking something. So, what do you do? If I were to ask you, if you could write in the chat box, what is it that you're habitual of doing generally? Telling or asking? So, telling is creating dependencies, and asking is creating self reliance. Do you agree? I have said you need to shift the focus from telling to asking because you need to create self reliant achievers in your organization if you want to achieve organizational effectiveness. Yeah, great. Now, it's very important to understand when to coach. There are people who say if you develop a coaching mindset, you just keep coaching. So I'm sure all of us will agree that there are a lot of opportunities that present themselves as an appropriate opportunity for us to coach people. However, not every opportunity is an opportunity for us to coach people. Yeah. So, what are those opportunities? When the person is developing and performing, that person deserves to be coached. When innovation is important, when confidence and motivation is needed, when a person wants an objective listener. Yeah. Now, this is the coaching essentials model. You will find that on your left are four key skills, and on your right is the coaching process. We'll first discuss the coaching process, and then we will discuss the skills which are pertinent to every step of the process. Yeah. So, what is connect? Build trust and positive relationships. Greet the person, express interest in the person, show that you care. Now, there's a whole lot of lengthy conversation that can happen around Connect itself if you've met the person for the first time and is fairly closed. However, if you have an existing relationship, you may not need to connect that much. You may already have a connect. So this is just a question that is coming out of one of the videos that we played during the workshop. Next is focus. Identify topics and goals, set the context for the conversation, narrow down the discussion to key focus areas, and confirm priorities. It's very important for you to understand that it's important to confirm priorities. Activate. It's collaborate to develop a plan for action, gather ideas and consider options, draw out a plan of action, identify what is needed to move forward. Yeah. Review, clarify agreements and discuss accountability, ask for a recap of actions and commitments, confirm timelines, including follow up meetings, and reflect on what was learned or useful. There are times that you review what was useful, what you're trying to learn, and then you may realize that you need to connect again, or you need to bring back focus again because possibly this is not what you wanted. So that is also possible. You have to live in the capable, you have to live in the realization that that may pretty much be the reality. The four essential skills that are used in each of the part of coaching process: connect, focus, activate, and review. The first one is listen to learn. When do I listen? So whenever you did listen, these three are very good questions to answer. Three important aspects to check when you're listening. What was challenging for you? Which aspect of what was being shared seemed challenging to you? The second is, what are your natural listening tendencies? There are times that people just listen to react. They want to, all the while they are listening to anything being shared, they are just seeking an opportunity to prove their point, and also to give them a rebuttal. What did you listen for? That's very important. What was the intent of listening? Listen with the intent of being influenced. What do we mean by that? If you could write it in the chat box, what do we mean by listen with the intent of being influenced? So quite a lot of responses which have come in are fairly accurate. So here, what it means is you're not listening with the intent of giving a rebuttal or a reaction to it. You're listening with the intent that if it seems logical, I'm happy to be influenced by it. Yeah, to understand. Correct. The second skill is inquire for insight. Ask questions that draw out ideas. Now, what could these questions be? Ask open ended questions, avoid why questions, makes people defensive. Correct. So, why questions corner people, leads to arguments. Absolutely. Why points to people and hence they try to defend themselves. Absolutely correct. And focus on moving forward. Yeah. Few quick tips. Ask one question at a time. What else is a very good question? Ask short and simple questions. And is a good enough question. If it isn't powerful, ask a different question. So if you think that the question that's coming to your mind is not a very powerful question, then step back, take a minute, and ask an important question or a powerful question. It's absolutely all right for you to say that. Please allow me to ask a different question. That's absolutely all right. Focus on moving forward. What's your next step? So you should, all the while you are into a conversation, there are times that we get into this emotional tirade, and I'm sure quite a lot of us would have experienced that in our corporate world. uh, we enter into a discussion which just seems to ramble on, it just goes on. So you need to ensure that you're moving ahead. The next is tell your truth. What do we mean by tell your truth? What we mean here is share relevant information. What are the constituents of that? Be direct and brief, avoid judgment and blame, confirm that your impact matches your intention. The last skill, express confidence, build self assurance and enthusiasm. How do you do that? Highlight relevant qualities or skills that this person has demonstrated. Be specific, sincere, and genuine. It's very important for you to be sincere and genuine. Most of the people will be able to figure out when you're not being genuine, and they would not take it as a light share. They have every opportunity to misunderstand that as passive aggression or sarcasm. Focus on the other person, not on yourself, because the process owner is the person who has come to get coached. So with that, I come to the end of what I wanted to share with you. Now we are open to questions and answers, and before that, if we could check a few, your understanding of what you've captured from the information that I've shared with you. If I may please request the first poll to be run, could you please quickly share your response to that? What does L stands for in the light skill set? Is it listen to learn? Is it learn to listen? Or is it learn to lead? So I think there's a neck to neck tie between learn to listen and listen to learn. So the result says 40% of people say it's listen to learn, and a lot of them say learn to listen. See, learn to listen would be a skill of you keeping mum, you keeping shut, and you asking people to speak. Listen, learn to listen. However, listen to learn is the skill. You're listening with the intent of getting influenced, as we had shared. Now, let me ask for the second poll to be run around the second skill. So this is absolutely correct. Almost 50% people got it correct. 66% got it correct. I'm sorry. It's inquire for insights. Yeah. If we could run the third poll, please, around the third skill. So 63% people have shared tell your truth, which is correct. Thanks, Rohit. Now let's run the final poll on the fourth skill, E. It's express confidence. Wonderful. Now we are open to any questions that you may have. So Ajay asks me, how is coaching different from mentoring? So Ajay, in mentoring, you act as a subject matter expert. In mentoring, you act as a subject matter expert, and you give rebuttal guidance and assignments to the mentee. However, in coaching process, You do not have to be the subject matter expert. Rather, it is preferred that you're not a subject matter expert, and you just guide the person to find the answers from within himself or herself. That's the main difference. So to answer your question, Rahul, I think I have answered your question on guiding and coaching. Guiding is not exactly mentoring, but very close to that. What's the difference between coaching and counseling? Counseling gives you perspective, coaching gives you a decision. In counseling, you try to find some perspective. Through coaching conversations, you're trying to find a decision which should come from you, from within you. As a coach, how do you create the right atmosphere for the coachee to be able to speak up openly? So that's the facilitative skill of the coach. One is the coach is not related to the challenge. Usually it is found that it's better that the coach is not related to the challenge. Second is the coach cannot and should definitely not be their reporting manager. And the third is the coach first holds a chemistry meeting. Once they both agree to discuss that subject is when the coaching journey begins. How do you create the right atmosphere? Okay, we can share the literature around yes, we will share the literature around coaching essentials program for sure. The coaches still may not open up, which is all right. You there are times that in a session you're just sitting, you're trying to connect, you're trying to hold conversation which is here and there, and when you find that the coachee is not ready to hold that discussion, then you do not push that. So Sudesh, instead of saying why is achieving a goal important to you personally, why do you want to ask any question which starts with why? What do you think would be the difference if you were to ask what would this goal do for you? What do you think makes this goal important to you? In the what questions, the individual is asking to answer. In the why questions, the individual is trying to defend. Monica, it is generally said that the manager should learn and practice coaching with his team. In this case, how does the manager handle the conversation if the coachee doesn't open up? See, if it is the manager, as I shared with you, it is not the best set of coaching conversation. However, if you want to make coaching the language of your organization, I think you would have created a lot of coaches aside from the manager as well. But the manager should also have the capability to hold this discussion. In this, the manager will be aware of the context, at least, or would be able to gather some information of the context from, if not from the person, then from the person's friends, at least, because that manager would be aware who are the people that he or she interacts most with. So try to find out and try to see how you can help the individual. So how do you sell the concept of coaching to a prospective coachee, especially when he or she is aware that he or she is a top performer? So coaching, Nikita, to answer your question, coaching is not always about performance. Coaching is about a lot other aspects to an individual than just performance. So I think possibly we are trying to focus on a very, very, very narrow aspect of coaching. Anand, in case of managers, it is typically called field coaching. So Anand, in case of managers, it is not necessary that you have to do field coaching. No, field per se would mean that you have a job of a salesperson or a person who has to be actively on the field, out in the market. Coaching can happen anywhere. There could be elevator conversations of coaching, there could be water cooler discussions of coaching, there could be coaching discussions which are regimented, managed and planned. So there are multiple types of coaching conversations that can happen. Coaching is usually helpful in three cases: alignment, breakthrough, check-in. Yes, Adit, that's correct. It's most helpful in these three aspects. Any particular skill which is important when coaching virtually? On a lot of occasions you are coaching virtually. Engaging, how to keep the client engaged or how to keep the coaching engaged is a very good skill. to master if you're trying to deliver virtually. Coaching is important for a person who's developing and performing. The coachee may not be able to get the right perspective. So, how does one tackle that? Right. So, clarifying the perspective is very important to be done by us, Nikita. That is the job of the coach or the role of the coach. So these are my coordinates. You can write into me if you want any further clarifications or discussions. I continue to answer the questions. I'm just on the side. I'm sharing these details. So that is the job of the coach, Nikita. Yeah, sure. And one question which has come to me in private chat is how to handle negative response. So the best way to handle a response is you do not seek a response. So there's to answer your question, if it is a performance related discussion that you're doing, then you'll have some performance metric already in place. Or in your first meeting, what you decide is how would the progress be made and how would the progress be measured. And this needs to be collectively agreed. Usually, this is suggested by the coachee because it's his context or her context. But he or she needs to inform you, and you both need to agree to it. It's the coachee who decides it, yes, because the context is of the coachee. The entire process owner is the coachee, not the coach. How often can you have coaching conversations? So, to be honest, most of the conversations as a leader that you have with your people should be coaching conversations. And if that's true, then I think there could be multiple coaching conversations during a day. And they don't definitely and necessarily have to be long, regimented, and documented conversations. They could be very simple, small conversations. However, the mindset is more important than the skill set. So, Neha, I agree with you. It's a very powerful tool, and Blanchard for a very long time was suggested to people to have different models of coaching. And when we realized that there were a lot of programs, there were a lot of coaching modules which were so regimented that they were not able to do justice to the actual process. People were just following it as a clerical process, and in executive coaching, you're just bringing about change in one individual, and that's why Blanchard came up with this module. Now this is a half day module which can be run to through the entire organization, and if you pass on half the skills of what coaching needs and the mindset, you are able to develop the capability for everyone to coach. People love to be called coach, and ICF, etc., few organizations like that have made it extremely difficult for a person to become a coach. It's almost like hitting a century in cricket, otherwise you're not a cricketer. Even if you do not hit a century, you are a cricketer. So you can be a coach if you even if you are not an ICF certified coach. That's absolutely all right. So how do you ensure that you're respectful to the other person? You are suspending judgment. You operate with non-judgmental attitude. You are listening to learn, inquiring for insight. You tell your truth and you express confidence in the other person. When you continue to do that, that helps develop that culture. Yeah, yeah. So, guys, if you don't have any further questions, maybe call it a day. You will find my coordinates mentioned here. You can capture that, you can write into me, or you can get in touch with. Practicing loyalty may or may not be very pertinent to this skill, Dr. Pradeep, because for being a coach, all you have to ensure is that you uphold the process. If you've informed your coachee that you will not be sharing any intricate discussion here, anything that has been discussed between the coach and the coachee stays with the coach, and that's about it. It's a very professional approach to it. I am not so sure in what aspect are you referring to loyalty. Thank you very much all for joining us for the session today.
It's been a great session, and you have been very patient listeners. So if you have any more questions, you can jot down the contact details. You can write into me, you can call me, or you could get in touch with the person who spoke with you, and we'll be happy to assist you with anything. Thank you. Thank you very much, all. Pleasure. Have a nice day.